Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Brittany and thank you so much for clicking this video. This is a story time video regarding Matthew Knowles. Yes, the Matthew Knowles, Beyonce's daddy. And the time that I worked with him. So my journey to working in the television and film industry started back in 2015. I actually started working in TV and film in 2014, but I was in the wardrobe department. And I decided to make the switch because I have this hair and I have experience doing makeup and I have this cosmetology license, and I noticed that now it is getting more diverse, but a lot of times behind the scenes that there wasn't many makeup artists or hairstylists that looked like me. That was the whole point of me trying to join. Well, I'm still currently trying to get my days to join the union, but that was the whole point of me making the switch from wardrobe to hair and makeup. So it is diverse, but to be even more diverse, I wanted to join and use my skill and creativity behind the scenes of some of the most amazing TV shows. But on this particular day, it was, I want to say June 5th, and I wasn't working at the time. I was looking to get work, and I find a lot of my work on Craigslist and Facebook. So any of you out there who's trying to get into the industry and don't really know how to go about it, I say use your resources besides your friends who you may or may not know work in the industry. But if you don't have any type of connects, go ahead and look up Craigslist, look on Craigslist. Make sure that your job is legit, of course. You know, if you have a bad feeling about it, don't do it. But if you feel okay with the people and how they're talking and, you know, and you feel like the job is okay, then go ahead and go with the job. But this job I got was on, so I saw an ad on Craigslist and I was like, it said something like, need a makeup artist for interviews or something like that. The title was so plain and it was like, you know, just something really simple. And I was like, oh, well, I could use the credit because in a lot of the other departments in TV and film, there's usually like a PA, which is like the entry level. The entry level to like learn the skill, learned about TV and film. So you start off as a PA and then you move up, not unless you know somebody that knows something about it. Then you may not start at that level. And kudos to you if you don't. But I started as a PA in the wardrobe department, but that's no here nor there. Okay, so in the hair and the makeup department, there is no PAs. It's either you know what you're doing or you don't, or you gain the experience by working on different shows or different non-union shows, which consist of like reality TV or student films and things of that sort, so you can get your day, so you can join the union. So this day I was like, okay, you know, I saw something on Craigslist, and granted, before, I know you're like, Craigslist, who would want to get a job off of Craigslist? Haven't you seen The Craigslist Killer? Yes, I've seen the movie The Craigslist Killer, but needless to say, Craigslist is, it's decent. You have to do your research on it, because I actually got an internship from Vogue Australia through Craigslist when I was doing the wardrobe part of things, but now I made the switch. Okay, so let's get you up to date. On June 8th, 2015, I saw an ad for them needing a makeup artist to do like an interview thing. So I was like, cool, you know, I'm just sending my application, sending my resume, sending my portfolio or whatever, so they could take a look at it. And right away the guy was like, hey, can you come in for an interview? And I was just like, wait, you want me to like drop everything now and come to where? And he was like, I need you to come to the Bronx. We need to have an interview real fast, and I'll let you know more of the details. I'm a little skeptical. So, and that's all the information I had. So I was like, all right, we'll try it out. I'm gonna bring my mace, because, you know, gotta stay scrap up here. Joking. So I was like, I'm gonna bring my mace, and I can't remember if my sister went with me or I brought somebody with me at the time. I think my sister might have drove out there with me for my interview. So I went out there, whatever, and the house looked like something from Get Out. The people, let me tell you, I went to the Bronx and I drove there, and the house is like sitting at the back at like this in this dead end road. Like, it's super creepy, like super craigslist killer. So I'm like thinking in my mind, oh, this is crazy, they're about to chop my little brown self up in the back. And the people who opened the door, they were in the house. There were people in the house, and the people who opened up the door were like this old white couple, like the people from Get Out. And it was scary. So so I seen them, and I rolled down my window, and I'm like, hey, I'm looking for so and so studios or sound studio, blah blah. And it was like, oh yeah, come on in. So I'm like, oh God. So I'm like, Jesus, just protect me, Lord. So I get out the car or whatever, and I lock my doors, and I take my purse and my mace with me. So, so I go around the house, right? And when I say this is like the creepiest looking house, the house is so creepy. So, somebody comes out or whatever, the PA who works for the studio comes out, and he meets me. He's like, hey, are you Brittany? I'm like, yeah, hi, I'm Brittany. He was like, all right, cool. Come with me. What you mean come with you? We can't stand right here and have this little meeting. No. He was like, no, it's cool. I promise. I know everything looks creepy. A lot of people get creeped out when they come here, but come on, just come inside. So I went in, and lo and behold, it was a lot of people there. There was like different types of students. I guess it's like a studio where if you want to like lay down tracks or learn music or whatever, like the person who owns it, he trains music students. So I was like, all right, this is cool. Everybody looks cool. I wasn't creeped out anymore. My intentions. No, let me tell you, before I even went in for the interview, he was like, do you want to come inside? I was like, no, I'm going to sit right here. I was so creeped out. I was completely creeped out. So I finally go in, and like I said, everything was cool. And then the guy who was doing the interview or whatever, he comes out. He's like, hey, Brittany, I like your work. So we have this guy coming in tomorrow. And he said it so casually, like, oh, it's Matthew Knowles. Do you know him? Of course I know who Matthew Knowles is. You think I don't know who half Beyonce's chromosomes come from? Hello? Anyway, so he's like, okay, so the client is Matthew Knowles. We're doing X, Y, and Z for this project, blah, blah, blah. Are you comfortable with doing African-American skin? Duh. Aren't I African American? So I was like, yeah, I have to remain professional. I can't say duh. So I was like, yeah, I'm super comfortable with it. I do all skin types, all ethnicities, everyone from every background, white, black, Chinese, Asian, Indonesian. It doesn't matter. I can do your makeup. That's fine. I'm super comfortable. So he's like, all right, cool. You got the job. And I'm like, wait, that's it? So we're not going to talk about pay. We're not going to talk about nothing. And he was like, oh, so you'll get paid X amount of money. Are you okay with it? I'm like, the rate is really, really low. Like, these people act like they ain't have no kind of budget. The rate was super low. But I was like, you know what? I need it more so for the credit and my name being put on a project than the money. And sometimes in life, you have to take jobs like this, especially in this industry. You would either have to do jobs for free or for a little bit of money in order for you to build up your repertoire or resume, or just for people to get to know you. So I was like, yeah, that's fine, whatever. It'll just probably cover my gas and buy me a new lipstick or something. So I was like, cool, I'll do it. So I went home or whatever. I packed my bag, and the next day I came and I get an email. He's like, oh, the client is going to be here earlier than expected. Is there any way you could come out here? Granted, where I live at is like almost Long Island in New York, and I have to go way to the Bronx. So that's like an hour drive, give or take, probably more depending on traffic. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'm going to go ahead. My stuff is already packed. So I'm just grab my bag, get in the car and go. So I get there, whatever. And he's like, he didn't arrive yet. I arrived before him. And that's another thing. If you really want to work in this industry, time is of the essence. Like, try and get there earlier before the talent or the client gets there. Time is everything. So that's the story. I made it before him. So he comes in and he's like, he shakes everyone's hand. Super nice guys. He's like shaking everybody's hand, and he's like, hey, how you guys doing, blah, blah, blah. So they start the interview process of the show, and they're asking him a bunch of questions. Let me tell you, this was the best 2 days that I have ever experienced working in this industry, because that man is a wealth of knowledge. That is a businessman, honey. Let me tell you, this, I learned everything. And I'm a huge Destiny, besides being a Beyonce's fan, I'm a huge Destiny's Child's fan. This is stuff that I grew up on. And it was so funny because he was like trying to recall the writings on the wall, which is, I think, Destiny's Child first album, if I'm not mistaken. And he couldn't remember a song. And so I was like, oh, don't worry about it. I have the album in my car. So I go out to the car and I get the album. I'm like, and I show him the album. I'm like, which song are you talking about? So he could remember the producers and say their name on camera or whatever. And then we was just talking. He was like, oh, I remember when Candy Buress wrote this song, and Tamar husband's Vince, yes, Vincent, the diva extraordinaire, Vincent wrote one of the songs as well. And he was like, yeah, he was just like this guy from New Jersey, this new kid on the block. And I was just like, yeah, I'll just give you a chance. And come to find out, he's like Vincent Herbert. So we was just talking about, you know, the coming of the writing of a wall. And he was just talking about the music industry and how great it was. So all of a sudden, his phone starts ringing. And I start freaking out because I'm like, is it Beyonce? Is it Beyonce? What's going on? Is Beyonce calling right now? Is Beyonce calling right now? Because, you know, I love her. So I'm like totally fanning out, but not in front of them. Like in my head, I'm singing this. I'm like, all right. So he switches the phone off or whatever, and he hands it to me. Yes, Matthew Knowles hands me his cell phone. And then he takes his wallet out of his pocket and he's like, yeah, Brittany, hold this too. So I have this man's cell phone and his wallet. Now, if I was nosy, I would try to go through it. But, you know, hello, cell phones has passcodes and I don't know the passcode. But every time that the phone beeped, ding, or do anything, I was like, in my head, I was like, is this Beyonce calling? Is this Solange calling? I wonder if Tina is calling him. I wonder if Blue Ivy done said a new word, or, you know, they trying to reach the grandfather like, hey, little Blue just did this. So every time the phone is like doing something, I'm like, oh my God, is she calling? Is she calling now? So at the end of the shoot, he takes back his cell phone. I give it back and I give him back his wallet. No, I didn't go back his wallet. No, I didn't go through Matthew Knowles' wallet because I wanted him to trust me. Like, if you don't betray somebody, because in this industry or in any industry, all you have is your name and you want the person to feel comfortable. And besides, if I was in his situation, I wouldn't want nobody going through my stuff. So no, I didn't go through his wallet. Beyonce's name did not pop up on the call ID, even though I was trying to be like, is it her, looking and stuff. But no, I don't think she called. But it was this one time where he asked everyone to clear the room and to give him his space. And inside the studio, it's soundproof, and he took a phone call. So it might have been her. So I had to work with him for 2 days. So that was the first day. The second day, we had to go to the city we had to go to this entertainment lawyer's office. And they had to do like the second part of the interview. So again, he comes in, I greet him. Hey, how are you doing, Mr. Knowles? How is everything going? And he's like, everything's good. You know, I'm super excited. I get to hang out with my granddaughter on Monday. And I'm like, oh, okay. You know, that's cool. Hopefully you guys will have a good time with each other. He was like, yeah, you know, last night I went out with my wife, and not Beyonce's mom. He remarried to another woman now, but which is cool. And I think her name is like Tina. I was like, you love them Enas, Tina, Gina. Come on now. No, her name is Gina because Beyonce's mom is Tina. So I was like, you love them Enas, Tina, Gina, Enas. And he just started laughing. He was like, hey, Brittany, do you have a business card? And I was like, yes, of course I do. Always stay prepared. Always stay prepared. You never know when somebody's going to ask you for your business card. So if you don't get anything from this story, 1, make sure you have your business card. And 2, your reputation is everything. And anything in this industry, you do not want to ruin your name, or in any industry, whatever you work in. You don't want to ruin your name. You want the people to trust you. You want to be trustworthy. You want to be honest. And some people aren't, you know. So when they come across good people, they continue to work with you and call you and things like that. So anyway, I hand him my business card, and he puts my business card in his wallet, and he was like, hey, I'm coming out with a new group now. This is in 2015. He was like, I got a new group coming out. It's called Blush. They're called Blush. And I think they're out now. I think Blush is out now, but at the time they were practicing. He was taking them through artistry boot camp. You know, like the same thing he did with Beyonce, running on treadmills, singing. Yeah, he was taking them through artist boot camp. At the time, he was like, yeah, anytime I'm in New York, I'll call you, and yeah, you can do their makeup because you're great, and I like you, which says a lot. So for him to be like, I like you and you're great, and I'm just like, do you not know who you gave birth to? Do you not know who you gave birth to? Oh, such a compliment. I do his makeup again for the second shoot with the entertainment lawyer, and he hands me his cell phone again, and he hands me his wallet again, and I just put it immediately in my book backpack, because I carried a backpack that day because I took the train because I didn't feel like driving because it ain't no parking in Manhattan. So I took his wallet and stuff and put it in my backpack, and then we went to set or whatever, and he was just telling me like so much stuff about the music industry. He was breaking down the percentage of how each artist gets paid as far as hip-hop and R&B and pop, and of course pop makes the most money. He was also telling me that he managed Nas when he did Illmatic, the Illmatic album. He was Nas's manager, which is pretty cool. So yeah, that was my day with Beyonce's father, Matthew No. No, there's more to this story. So at the end of the shoot, the person who hired me was kind of shady. He was a little shady boots and trying not to pay me. And so I was telling him, he was like, we was in the elevator. Everybody was in the elevator. Matthew Knowles was standing behind me. Mr. Knowles, excuse me, Matthew Knowles. That's so disrespectful. He hates it when you call him Matthew Knowles. Mr. Knowles was behind me, and he heard the conversation that me and him had. He said the quote that he was originally supposed to give me, but I'm like, you know, this man has been late. He's been running me amok, and he's like the worst person to work for. Not Mr. Matthew Knowles, but the guy who hired me or whatever. He was just super unprofessional, and I would never work with him again. And I said, no, I'm going to tack on another so-and-so amount of money because of X, Y, and Z. And he was like looking at me. So Matthew Knowles like tapped me. Like, do you need my help? Like, I got you. Like, me and you, we got a connection. Not like that. Like a father-daughter connection. And he was like, you know, do you need my help? Like pretty much nudged me like, you need my help? You need me to say something to him? Matter of fact, he did. We walked out the elevator. He was like, this young lady has been great, nothing but nice, and you're going to pay her whatever she asks for. Do you hear me? Like, daddy roast. I'm like, oh, look at him being my father figure. He's so great. He's such a great dad. Thanks for having my back. So he was, you know, just looking out for me or whatever. And then the two guys went across the street or whatever to have a meeting with this other artist that the guy who hired me, I guess besides that, he like manages other artists. So he bought one of his talents to meet with Matthew Knowles, but he won't really feeling her. Sorry, girl. You cute or whatever, but he won't feeling you. Anyway, so they went over there and had a conversation. They conversed about whatever, business, music or whatever. And he came back and he was like, you okay? Like looking at me like, this man better pay you your money. And if he don't, then let me know. Like, because I'm going to rough him up. It was so nice. It was really, really sweet. I really respect him a whole lot. So I get paid my money plus the additional of what I requested because of his unprofessionalism and the fact that this guy was just completely in the wrong. So I get my money and I leave. And as I'm walking down the street, I see him in a cab and he yells my name. He's like, Brittany. And I turn around. I'm like, hey, you know, get home safely. He was like, did you get your money? Did he handle that? And I was like, yeah, do I need to get out this cab? And he's so fun. And I was like, yeah, everything's all good. He was like, good. See you next time. And I was like, all right, you know, have a great time. And then the light turned green. So that was my story with Mr. Matthew Knowles, who is an incredible businessman and a great person to talk to about anything regarding business or music. He's just a plethora of knowledge and really, really sweet. He's a really kind man. So if you would like to hear more stories such as this one, or even about building your portfolio, anything industry related, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It would be greatly appreciated. And plus, I want to hear from you. I want to hear what type of questions you would have for me. And if you want to hear more story time about, the different people that I worked with, I will be gladly to share with you about the person and leaving some of their drama behind. I won't tell you everything because I still gotta get my paper, and I still gotta get my money, and I still gotta be trustworthy out here in these streets. You know what I'm saying? So I'll tell you some stuff, but not everything. So until next time, stay beautiful, stay gorgeous, stay encouraged, and most of all, stay blessed.
Hit me.
Later.